So we are live here at the Crazy Horse Monument and Memorial, and this is actually on the way to Mount Rushmore. It is a spot that I honestly am more excited about than Mount Rushmore itself, if I'm being completely honest, as the future of this location is amazing. They are doing an Indian Museum of North America here, as well as the Indian University of North America. And when the Crazy Horse Monument is finished, it will be the largest mountain sculpture in the world, measuring at 563 feet high and 640 feet long. And just to give you guys a little bit of a comparison, all of the Mount Rushmore sculpture could fit underneath Crazy Horse's arm. So this is going to be a huge sculpture, and it has been 4 generations in the making. They are doing this because they want to tell the story of the indigenous people of North America and provide a positive view of their culture and their heroes. It originally started off with Chief Standing Bear coming up with the idea. And the sculptor went on record to say to carve a mountain to a race of people who once lived here for maybe 150,000 years, what an honor. Originally, the sculpture had a different location in mind, but the Black Hills were insisted upon as this was a very sacred land for many generations. The idea was to do Crazy Horse for this monument, as he was born around 1840 in the Black Hills. His name wasn't originally Crazy Horse, however, but instead Curly, believed to be because of his wavy hair. Later in life, though, when he had proven himself, he earned his father's name of Crazy Horse. And in 1876, Crazy Horse led warriors to victory against the United States federal government in the Battle of Little Bighorn. This battle was done to try and protect the Native American territory and preserve the traditional way of life for the Lakota people. After the battle, the U.S. government rounded up tribes that resisted, and in 1877, Crazy Horse surrendered to the U.S. troops in Nebraska. Negotiations quickly broke down from what is believed to have been incorrect translations, and while he was escorted to jail, Crazy Horse resisted and drew his knife. It was at this point a guard lunged and fatally wounded Crazy Horse. His parents then transported him to his final resting place, with the location still being a secret to this day. The beginning of this monument found Chief Standing Bear and others reaching out to sculptor Korzak, as they believed he was destined to carve Crazy Horse when they learned he was born on September 6th. This was within hours of the date Crazy Horse died 31 years prior. Another reason they believed that Crazy Horse would be perfect for this monument was because Crazy Horse often told his people that he would return to them in stone. At first, it was only planned to carve the first 100 feet, but eventually it was believed that the entire mountain would be needed to tell the full story. When the sculptor moved there in 1947, there was no roads, money, water, electricity, or housing. He had to live in a tent for the first 7 months while he hand-built the roads, a log house, and a staircase leading up the mountain.
Just that cut.
Korchak arrived May 3rd, 1947.
and lived in a tent the first 7 months while he cut trees and hand-built a log studio home. He had to spend 2 years pioneering because there were no roads, water, or electricity. When finally he could start work on the mountain, he was 40 years old and had only $174 left to his name. He had to climb a rope to get to the top of the mountain, and he single-jacked or hand-drilled the holes for the dedication blast in 1948. That winter, he built an incredible 741-step staircase all the way to the top.
Well, you can imagine how humble I started on the mountain. I started with a single jack. That's a hammer and a steel. And I drilled my holes around 3-4 feet deep and blow them off. Then I bought an old compressor. It was 24 years old, an old Buddha. Weighed around 4 tons. And I put a pipeline 2,440 feet long from the compressor on the ground up to the top of the mountain. And I bought a jackhammer. Now, this took 2 years to get all this done. And then I bought another hammer, and then my steel. Dynamite is rather expensive, and my electric caps. So over the first 7 years, I climbed that 741 steps, and I carried everything up on my back. When I go up, I'd start the big compressor. I used to crank it, you know, and I put a 50-pound box of dynamite in one shoulder, and put a wire, a string of bits around my neck. Then I'd take maybe an 8 or 10 or 12, 14-foot steel in my left hand, and that's how I'd start up the mountain. The old Buddha, the old compressor, was kind of decrepit, and I'd get sometimes a quarter of the way up, and I'd just hear that thing go kaput, 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 kaput. Put everything down, walk all the way down the staircase, start it up again, crank her up, wait there 5 minutes, start up the mountain, pick everything up, go up to the top, which is quite a distance, put all my things down, get my air valve cleaned out, oil the hammer, pick it up, get my starter steel in it. Just start to drill one hole, get down about a foot, and you could hear the big Buddha, kaput, kaput, kaput. Down I'd go again. One day I did that 9 times. You know, that gets awful old. Oh, I tell you, that walk up and down there is terrible.
He also went up and down in a dangerous homemade aerial cable car.
Oh, this is a bucket I built. It was quite a bucket, too. It'd go so far, and then it'd drop about 30 feet. Then it'd go up and down and up and down and up and down. I made a mistake, and I asked my wife to come with me once. I should never have done it. Because when she started to drop, Mother said, "This is it. You're not going up there anymore."
On June 3rd, 1948, they did the first blast, and that was the only blast done that year. The holes were hand-drilled, and it only removed a total of 10 tons. During this blast, 5 survivors of the Battle of Little Bighorn were guests. Altogether, it will cost you about $20 whether you visit here on the off-season or not. This is because you must pay to enter not only the monument, but have to pay extra if you would like to take a bus to the base of the mountain. While this is a little more expensive than I originally thought and preferred, it is for a good cause. The U.S. government has offered a total of $10 million worth of funding, but it has been turned down a total of 4 times, once per generation, as it is believed the government would turn this more into a memorial versus the cultural center they are aiming for. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, as I have new videos coming out every single week. You don't want to miss it. Check the description of this video as well for my other social media channels, where you could find exclusive photos and videos, as well as my Patreon. And as always, take care, stay safe. I will see you all on the next adventure.